It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the movies of June 1st, 2001. We've got two comedies to start the year off. One is kind of underrated. The other, maybe not as bad as you might think it would be, considering who's involved in it. But let's talk about that one first. That is Rob Schneider as the Animal.
Meet Marvin Mage.
Dimples got out again.
I let him out.
He's not the man he used to be. He's a whole new breed.
I put animal parts in you.
Huh? Somebody help my boy!
From the producing team of Big Daddy, Rob Schneider is
that your goat?
the Animal.
How's it going? You got it going on.
Rated PG-13. Opens everywhere June 1st.
So yeah, this is one of those ones where, honestly, on paper, it looks like a really bad Rob Schneider movie, which it is, but on the one hand, it's one of the less bad Rob Schneider movies, and I'll explain that in just a second here. But you have Rob Schneider playing a police station evidence clerk who is critically injured and is put back together by a mad scientist who transplant animal parts, resulting in strange animalistic changes to his behavior. And of course, you're gonna get the typical, animal behaviors, like he'll, like you see in the trailer, he'll act like a dolphin. He'll be aroused by a goat in the middle on the middle of a farm. He'll what else does he do? He'll neigh like a horse when he's really horny, like that type of stuff. It's just like that stuff right there. It's just kind of like, yeah, this is not really all that funny. However, I will say this though. Of all the Rob Schneider comedies he's done, this one is surprisingly the most enjoyable out of the bunch, which doesn't mean it's a good movie, because there is a lot of things about this movie that do not work whatsoever, but there are those little gags here and there that I will admit, they're stupid, but they do make me laugh. Like, there are times in this movie where there is something really funny to be had here, and there is a lot of little funny moments in there, and the concept is actually a really funny concept. Like, a guy who gets seriously injured, and he has to be put back together by a scientist who says, you know what, I'm going to put all these animal parts in you. Why? Just because I want to experiment on you. It kind of reminds me a lot of Joe Dirt, honestly, the more I think about it, because it's another one of those movies where it's just like, this should not work by any means necessary. It's a typical, Adam Sandler movie. Like, it's a movie where it's just kind of like, okay, you get what you kind of get here, but this is back kind of when we kind of accepted that type of thing. We kind of accepted it because there was at least effort being put into it, and it wasn't a movie where, Adam Sandler and his buddies were only doing it so they can go on vacation somewhere. Like, they're actually trying in this movie. Like I said, not to the best all the time, but, like, it's at least working in here. There is a lot about this movie that is not great. A lot of the humor in this movie does not really work that well. Then you get those little brief jokes that do kind of work. Like, I like that scene that's in the trailer where, like, there's a truck running by him and he's like running around like he's running at first, and then all of a sudden he goes into position like he's running like a gazelle in the African jungle. Like, stuff like that. Types of humor like that can be really, really funny at times. But then like his love interest in the movie, this love interest in the movie really is not that good of an actress, but that's because she wasn't an actress. You know who she is? Colleen Haskell. Now, that name may not sound familiar to a lot of people, but she was on Survivor, which came out the year before, which became the big breakout reality hit of the reality show that kind of launched the reality show concept into another level. She won she was in sixth place, so they took somebody from a reality show and made them the romantic lead in a Rob Schneider movie. Like, I mean, I don't think, and this woman's not a bad actress. Like, she's trying, but you could just tell right from the moment she's on screen, like, this is somebody who does not really have a whole lot of acting chops to work with, and so she's just kind of like she's really not given a whole lot to do here, per se. And the Rob Schneider character, it's just Deuce Bigelow all over again. Like, he's getting beat around and pushed around by a lot of people. He's the dork, he's the geek and all that, and, like, that shit gets old really, really quickly, especially in Schneider movies that come after this. But like I said, there is stuff about this movie that is surprisingly really enjoyable. Like, there are goofy moments in the film that actually do work. There's a lot of silly humor that gets a couple of good laughs. It's not a great movie all the way through, but it's at least trying. They're at least trying in this case compared to what the later Happy Madison movies try to do, and it's just like, I guess I can't really say it's a bad movie per se, but it's a movie that definitely is not that great in general. And I understand they're making a sequel to this, which, regardless of what that sequel does, that sequel will be much worse than this movie. I guarantee it, because the last time they tried to do a sequel on a streaming service, we got Joe Dirt 2, and yeah, that didn't quite work out so well. So, I guess overall, my overall thoughts on this movie is that it's a bad movie, but it's not the worst Rob Schneider movie. He's done a lot worse. There are times when this movie can be very funny and very creative, but those are very few and far between, as you're basically just, trying to keep up with the pace of the film as it's trying to as it gets more ridiculous for its own good. I mean, overall, it's fine. I guess that's the best way to describe it, is that it's passable, but it's not one I'd watch over and over again, but it's one I'd be like, I mean, it's okay for what it is, but it's not one you're gonna watch over and over again. So let's move on to a comedy that I think is very underrated, and that is Martin Lawrence and Danny DeVito in What's the Worst That Could Happen.
That's how we lost the last translator. And bringing them down. Power to the people. And I have a very big promo. Martin Lawrence, Danny DeVito. What's the worst that could happen? Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, June 1st at theaters everywhere.
So What's the Worst That Could Happen is actually based off of a book by Donald E. Westlake, who's actually had a ton of his books turned into movies. Actually, let me show you the list right here, because I'm looking at here, and it's like a bunch of different, very unique ones here. You have Point Blank with Lee Marvin. You have stuff like Why Me, which had Christopher Lambert, Christopher Lloyd, and J.T. Walsh. But more recently, he had written Payback, the movie with Mel Gibson in it, which was actually the second movie based off The Hunter. And later on, his book would be based off, Flashfire would be the inspiration for the movie Parker with Jason Statham. So him having a hand in this movie sounds really, his book being the centerpiece of this is really, really interesting. You have Martin Lawrence, who's a skilled thief, and Danny DeVito, who's a wealthy businessman who faced financial trouble. Basically, Martin Lawrence robs his house, and Danny DeVito, when the cops arrest him, he says that, hey, that guy's got my ring, and even though that's Martin Lawrence's girlfriend's ring, and so it creates a battle between him and Danny DeVito's character. They go after each other, and the chaos and hilarity ensues. And really, this was I feel like this was unfairly criticized when it came out, because honestly, the more I saw this movie again, the more times I saw this movie in the year since its release, I gotta say, man, this movie is really, really, really funny. Mostly because of Danny DeVito and his commitment to this. Him and Martin Lawrence just have this really good back and forth with the situation here that just really leads to a ton of great, hilarious moments. There's a great moment where, Danny DeVito is in the middle of the Senate hearing, and Martin Lawrence calls him during the middle on there, telling him about, insulting him, and the senators think he's making fun of them in particular, and it leads to some really, really great moments in between the two of them while they're watching this take place, and it's just it's really funny stuff. Danny DeVito is really, really good in this movie, but then again, that's Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito can usually make a movie like this work. Even a bad movie, he'll usually be the best thing about it, and he really is great in this movie. I like Martin Lawrence's character a lot in this, too. John Leguizamo has a good supporting role in this. Good cast overall in here. Glenn Headley, Carmody Jogo plays Martin Lawrence's girlfriend in this. The late Bernie Mac, Larry Miller, Nora Dunn, Bill Fichtner, Richard Schiff, Anna Gasteyer, Lenny Clark. Just a really good cast in this movie in general. And there is a lot of really funny, over-the-top moments in this movie that just really is well done. And it works very well. I think it's a very, very solid film. It's not a classic movie by any means necessary, but it's one that I think got unfairly criticized in a number of different ways. I like this whole movie a lot. I think it's really well done. I think it's really hilarious stuff. The casting in here works. The comedy is very well done. It's a really good movie. I really like it a lot. I may be the only one that says that, but I actually thought this movie was actually really, really fun. Definitely check it out. What's the worst that could happen? Hey, what's the worst that could happen? If you don't like it, you say you saw a bad movie, and you say I'm wrong, but who knows? Maybe you actually get something in return from it. I'm just saying. And so with that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. So when we meet next time, we'll take a look at 3 more movies, including John Travolta, Hugh Jackman, Halle Berry in Swordfish. We also have Ivan Reitman's attempt to create a new Ghostbusters for the 21st century, this time with Aliens, Evolution, with David Duchovny, Sean William Scott, Julianne Moore, and Orlando Jones. And the limited release of Disney's Atlantis, The Lost Empire was also this weekend too. So we'll take a look at all 3 of those movies. That'll be on the next episode. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So with that said, I am off. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, I almost messed it up. Until next time, take care.